Hey everyone, and welcome back to Practically Zero Waste, a podcast for making zero waste living as practical as possible. Today I chatted with my friend Valentina about self-sufficiency and her family's lovely little home. With their synthesis of beautiful vegetable gardens, woodland, and livestock, they produce nutritious food for their family while closing the loop within their ecosystem. Ready to learn more? Let's go! So you live on a pretty epic little hobby farm here. Would you call it a hobby farm?
I don't know. We don't have a ton of animals over the winter. The foundation of what we have, I would say, is a garden and chickens. Those we always have.
Yeah.
And I don't know if a garden and chickens are enough for me.
Okay.
But if we have some grazing animals, or when we have the pigs, or if we get bees.
You only have pigs in the summer.
Spring to fall.
Spring to fall.
Yeah.
And if you had bees, that's just a spring to fall thing too?
So we're sitting in the living room, and if you look out my front windows, that's where our garden is, and it's a mix of...
And it's massive and it's amazing.
It's expanded a little bit every year.
Yeah.
So we started with, the original garden was 25 feet by 35 feet.
Wow.
And
the
then,
original garden. So had you ever had gardens before?
I had in town, and it is so hard to grow things well in town compared to we don't have the squirrels, like in town, battling the squirrels.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And the soil is just so much better.
Okay. Well, that's a nice consolation for me because I've never done well in town with gardens.
Yeah.
Okay, so original garden was 25 by 30.
Yep. And then we've probably, the next year, doubled that by adding 2 rows of raspberry canes and then
Where
a
do you
row
get raspberry canes?
of asparagus. I ordered them so they
Okay.
can bear root in a bag on a refrigerated truck from a nursery in, I think, New Brunswick.
Wow.
Yeah, so they just came in the mail.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's pretty fun.
It was a very inexpensive way to start. So they're bare root plants and need a little bit more care, but
yeah, focused attention.
Yeah, it was an easy way for us to get, I forget now, if we have 50?
Wow.
Maybe? Yeah.
That's enough. That's a good haul of berries. So how long do those take to actually get settled and start producing fruit?
They produced fruit the first year.
Oh.
Which was great, but
That's
we
nice.
gave them lots of attention. And it's not a lot. It was enough that you could go out and just snack. The kids loved it. Last year, because we have tons of wild raspberries here, we have, we got a beetle that's called the raspberry cane borer.
Great.
So it lays its eggs by cutting into the stem of the raspberry cane, like in a complete circle. So it kills everything above.
Oh my gosh.
And then if you leave it, then when they hatch, the larvae crawl down the stem and overwinter in the roots. So last year I had to cut a lot. I would go out every day and look for, you could tell because the top of the nice green growth would just be completely wilted. And then cut off those bits and burn them.
Oh my gosh.
So last year we got a couple raspberries, but it wasn't as much as I would have liked.
Yeah.
Hopefully this year will be better.
Yeah. Hopefully they're not hanging out there down in the snow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this year will be the first year we can harvest our asparagus.
Okay, yeah, because that takes a little while to
I
get
think
settled.
3 years. So this year we'll maybe harvest 1 cutting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many things that I've always wanted to plant, but I'm planting in pots in the city, and I'm not gonna wait 3 years or keep something alive for 3 years. I struggle with houseplants.
The first year we moved out here, the first and the second year, we invested in a lot of long-term things.
That's nice.
So we bought...
Because you're here for the long haul.
Yeah. 6 apple trees, I think, in 2 pairs.
Oh, I like that.
And we had all but 2 die.
Oh my gosh.
So we had a drought and our well ran dry and I couldn't water stuff. And then we were able to save most of them. And then we had deer come and eat them.
Jerks.
And then we put fencing around so the deer couldn't get at them. And then we had rabbits come and eat the bark all around the bottom. So we had 2 that survived.
They are aggressive.
But we have lots of mature apple trees that have okay apples.
Yeah.
I think they were maybe just...
wild.
Yeah, grew from seed. They're not excellent variety, but they were great for making cider or feeding to the pigs. So ideally out front in that area where we have our big garden, and I have a section that's flower beds, and we have our mature apple trees, and we'd like to have an orchard of nice eating apples.
Yeah.
That we could have the bees out there.
Okay. That would be a lovely spot for them.
Yeah. They would have lots of flowers available throughout the season, and then they would also be good for our plants.
Absolutely. Yeah. And what kind of flowers do you normally do? Are they ones that are bee friendly or for fun stuff, or just pretty flowers? I don't know. What do you do?
Yeah, a little of everything.
That's good.
I've learned so much since we moved here. We started with the front just being field, and I thought it was beautiful. We let it grow, and there was a meadow. And
instead of having cut lawn, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mowed like a path through it so you could walk through with the kids, and it would be,
that's lovely.
Like a jungle to them. It was incredible. And then we had ticks show up in our area.
Freak.
Yeah. So because we do still have lots of area that are field, but because it's right outside our house, and the kids play there, we started mowing it.
Yeah, that's safe.
Yeah. So we do, we know there are ticks, and we're checking and conscious of that. But there's a difference between when we're just around the house and then if we went out into the bush or in the fields.
Yeah.
So then because we started mowing it, then we started increasing the garden. Because why not have more garden instead of just grass?
To cut. Because who wants to cut grass when you could?
Forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the flowers were a recent addition. We worked on the vegetables first. Yeah. And then once that was established, we put in lots of flowers. So we used to have like a wildflower kind of meadow. Like tons of black-eyed Susans and Queen Anne's lace, stuff like that. Yeah. And then we planted a bunch of perennials last year that we split a whole variety. And then I'm starting lots of annuals in the seed trays. So this year I'd like to have a cut flower garden. Oh, that's doing snapdragons and zinnias. Yeah. We always have canna lilies, like you can.
Oh yeah,
bulb. Yeah, yeah. Or a tuber, I guess.
A big root thing. Yeah.
So we've grown those, and we have lots of spring bulbs too. Yeah,
that's so lovely. So what is your favorite season to walk outside of your home?
I really love summer, but I think spring is just so exciting.
Yeah.
Like when you're done with winter.
Yes. Yes.
And you know it's changing. You know it's getting warmer.
Yeah. I mean, it's so anywhere exciting. In the world, I'm sure the end of winter, anywhere in the northern hemisphere, I'm sure the end of winter is exciting, but especially in Canada. Let's just say, even though we're only in southern Ontario, I would say that it's especially exciting.
As it's March 2nd, and we're sitting here watching it snow.
It's a beautiful snowfall, but it's not exactly.
Doesn't feel like March.
I don't want it forever.
Yeah. So I love, I would say when May rolls around, we start spending most of the day, every day outside.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that sounds lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially in a place like this. Like I'm going to be outside every day, hopefully, because I am shriveling up inside, or like gaining weight. I don't know which one it is. Something to do with never leaving the house and just having a newborn and being very cooped up. I'm very excited for springtime. Yes. So that's going to be wonderful.
You know, it is. And I like it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you how many yards of soil I've shoveled or moved or, we've dug so many. That first garden we dug that was 25 feet by 35 feet, we dug by hand.
Oh my God.
And we fenced it in because of the deer, and every fence hole we dug just with a shovel.
Wow. Sorry, was that before or after kids?
It was after kids. So I'm trying to think. That was the first year we moved. So they would have been 1 and 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay. That's not an age where they can help. But
not yet.
I wasn't sure if they were involved in that. That's okay.
No. Yeah. Yeah. But it seems like a lot of work on one hand, but on the other hand, I don't go to a gym. So
There you go.
it keeps you in shape.
Yeah. And it
Yeah.
it connects you with your food and connects you with everything that you're doing out there. Like if you're putting in the physical work, you're not detached from it. You're not just going to the grocery store and buying your food, your food.
Yeah.
You're just going to the grocery store and buying your food. There's a connection there, and that's something that's, I don't know, adds a lot of value.
So we knew each other when we were both younger.
You and I, yes.
Yep. And then I didn't see you for a while. And then you moved back. And now we both are married and have kids.
Yeah.
And I was kind of surprised to discover we have so many overlapping interests.
Yeah.
Because I had never really thought or encountered like zero waste as a philosophy.
Yeah, exactly. But you were already kind of doing it. Like you have that.
Yeah, we moved here and our concern was more about healthy food. Like having access to like truly organic, not like mega corporation organic.
Yeah.
Real,
Yeah.
good food that's full of nutrients that feeds your soul to grow it and your body to eat it.
Yeah.
And the solution to that seems to also be the solution to the
reducing your packaging.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, because, okay, so let's move on from the garden. You're not just doing your own fruits and vegetables here and eating seasonally. You have animals throughout parts of the year, or sometimes all throughout the year.
Yeah.
Tell me about your animals.
I think that's part of it. So we get meat birds in the springtime. So sometimes we do 25. 1 year, I think we ordered 90. I don't know why. We didn't eat 90 chickens in a year. So
that's a lot of chickens.
I know.
That's more than one chicken a week.
Well, our idea was if we could do chickens, that was sort of the easiest starting point. Because if you get a white rock, which is like a Cornish cross, they can be 10 weeks from when they're hatched to when you bring them to the butcher.
Okay.
So for having grown up in town, not knowing anything about farming, either Jonathan or myself, we thought chickens was the easiest in. Because if it's only 10 weeks, we could do it for sure. And we followed Joel Saladin method.
Yep.
You know? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I've only heard Brendan talk about it, but another person on who's been on the podcast, Zero Waste Chef, Anne-Marie Bonneau, she also loves Joel Saladin and talked a lot about him too. So we do buy feed, but we have them in these movable pens. He calls them chicken tractors, but it's like an 8x8 little fenced in thing with a lid because we have lots of predators, and they just get moved. We do twice a day, so they're always on fresh grass. Okay, so grass, like, what do chickens eat? I don't know.
So it's if you buy feed from the store, it's grain, but they can eat when you're moving them grass, or if there are seeds from whatever native plants or bugs.
Ooh, they like bugs. I didn't know chickens were
protein.
carnivores. That's cool.
So I think it's about you can replace 20% of the feed cost by moving them on pasture. And they're also moving around and being active birds.
Right.
They're not sitting in a cage just eating.
Right. So that's just for their quality of life. That's what that's for. Like,
it also makes a difference.
Okay, does it make a taste difference?
Yeah.
Okay.
It does.
I wasn't sure about that.
Grocery store chicken, it does not taste like the same thing. Like there's like a spongy kind of a texture and not as much flavor as real chicken.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. I didn't know that there was like, I was like, oh, the animals, yes. And, I should care more than I do about the animals, but I also didn't realize that there was a taste flavor difference.
No, totally.
Cool.
And I do, like when you see them and you're taking care of them.
Which I will today. We're going to go on a little walk around. Yeah.
You want them to live in nice conditions. You know, you can't.
Yeah.
I would want them to be as happy as you can, which may sound silly if you're just going to eat them, but
well, it kind of alleviates some of the guilt.
Yeah. I feel like if you commit to having that animal, then I should do what I can to make their life their quality of life the best that I can.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, I like that. And because you talked about how gardening feeds you as well as feeds your soul, like it's all part of it. You want your animals to have a good quality of life. You want them to taste as good as possible.
Yeah.
And so all of these things flow together. And
so also having animals, it works as part of the garden. It's one system. Let's say we have produce. If something goes bad or whatever, we can feed it to the chickens. We feed our compost to the chickens. They in turn are producing manure that we compost, and then that is going back on the garden. When we first put in the garden, we did get a load of compost to enrich the soil for the beginning, but now we can just rely on what the animals are producing to put back into the soil and replenish the
I just love that so much.
And it's so convenient. In the spring, let's say I wasn't planning on going out one day, but I go to prepare a bed. I know I can just walk out back to the compost and shovel it in my wheelbarrow. I don't have to drive into town and buy something or plan ahead and make sure I have it or
buy something so in a plastic bag, because for your small scale gardens in the city, where do people buy their soil?
Right.
And isn't it weird to buy soil in a plastic bag, to be able to go to your backyard or find a place that sells it loose, like a city compost site or something like that?
So again, I was not ever thinking about zero waste, but I am also very frugal. So I would not buy soil in a bag. We have a little trailer, and we would drive to a landscape supply place and get them to just dump it in our trailer. Yeah. And same with mulch, because it's so much cheaper, and then you also have a trailer load of it.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah, because you're just I'm not thinking
I'm
about
not going to pay for that.
Look at the plus side. I also stick to packaging. Yeah.
I think, too, that it feels like, how could it possibly be wrong when the solution to my problem about food quality and trying to live frugally is also the solution to your concern about the environment? Because sometimes you try and solve a problem and actually it's worse in, some other way that you didn't intend.
Yeah.
But when it's better across the board, how could you
say no to that? Yeah. It's too good. I like that a lot. I think that's such a good philosophy for life. That's so good.
Yeah. So I love gardening. And we have animals too, and they're nice, but I love gardening. We also do pigs in the summer, and they're the same. Like any extra food, they will eat all produce that you could come up with. And we also have some oaks, so when the acorns drop, the kids and I will go out for half an hour every day and pick up all the acorns and throw them in.
That's
or
great.
The apple trees.
That's great.
We threw down a tarp one year, and Jonathan got up there and shook the tree.
I've always wondered how to get a lot of apples down quickly.
That's not how you do it if you want to store them.
No, because they'll all be bruised. But if you just need to feed the pigs.
Exactly. It works really well.
How much food can you give them that you didn't have to buy, sort of thing? That's a weird way of asking that.
Yeah.
How can I ask that differently?
So the first time we did pigs, and we had never done it before, we mostly just bought feed.
Yeah.
And our bin of compost, but we had 3 pigs that were maybe 300 pounds each. A little bin of compost is really nothing.
Right.
But then the last time, I would say we had reduced that to half their food coming from free sources, either stuff we had grown and the zucchinis that are too big to eat, or apples or acorns, or waste produce that we got from a grocery store. It was half of their feed was coming
amazing.
From that. I am sure, maybe it's just psychological, that the meat tasted better.
Because they're not just eating, what were they eating, grain as well, or?
Yeah, so the feed is mostly grain.
Yeah. Well, they would taste better because they're eating a variety of things. Yeah. I'm sure that if I only ate peanut butter, then I wouldn't taste very good to the bear that's gonna eat me in the woods or something. Terrible example, but if I ate a variety of things, that bear's gonna think I'm a lot more tasty.
And
So-
I think I have heard that, a thing with pigs, that you would finish them on finish them on apples or finish them on acorns, that gives them the meat a nice flavor.
Interesting. You're helping finish up another problem too with your pigs by gathering waste produce from grocery stores. Do grocery stores just put that out? Or how do you get that?
So we found out about it because we had a friend who also had pigs that said this grocery store, they just have extra and they'll leave it out back in cardboard boxes. And sometimes, it's like all the husks from the corn when corn's in season and
they husk it so that it looks pretty in the store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine. Or it's like the outside leaves from romaine hearts or something like that. And sometimes it's watermelons that are a little bit past their prime or something like that the pigs really love. But it was friends of ours who had told us about that, which was
That's great. Yeah, because it's a free source for you. Like grocery stores are a problem all on their own because, there's so much waste created in the grocery store. There's waste before the food even gets to the grocery store because, farmers can't give all of their produce. All the ugly stuff has to stay or be thrown out or whatever they do with it, feed it to their own pigs. And so
every farmer should just have pigs.
Honestly, it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
I think it's great to be able to have them process it because if I just let all of my compost sit in my composter and I'm not turning it regularly and I'm not doing all of the important things for compost, it's going to take forever. But if I feed it to a pig, he's going to process it in a couple of, weeks. I'm going to have all this manure.
It's very efficient.
It's so efficient. And it gets through, he's going to chew through all of those complicated things like a watermelon rind that wouldn't decompose that quickly. Anyway, if I ever don't live in the city, let me get at those pigs.
So our compost is not near our garden, but it's beside the chicken coop because I also don't turn my compost.
Yes, exactly.
But the chickens will go in and they love scratching through and they'll, if you throw the fresh stuff in there, they'll eat that. But looking for bugs or whatever, so the chickens turn it for you.
I just love how cooperative and helpful everyone is. This is great. We haven't even touched this list of questions yet.
No.
I don't care. This is wonderful.
I think if you're going to do something, it should solve multiple problems.
I like that.
We have the chickens because they give us eggs, or when we get meat birds, they're giving us meat, but they're also giving us fertilizer for the garden.
They're turning my
compost
for you.
Yeah.
They're fun to run around after.
Our kids love that. No, it solves multiple problems for us.
That's wonderful. How long have you had those particular chickens? What age did they stop?
Half of them are like a heritage breed that we got, I think, 3 years ago. So they are about, they're still laying, but they stop soon.
Oh, okay.
Or they wouldn't just stop, but they won't be laying as frequently.
Okay, and it's every day.
Maybe not every day. Should ask Jonathan. So we have 10 layers, I think. We get 6 eggs a day.
Okay.
Yeah. And then half are the ones that our neighbor gave us.
Oh, half of the chickens that your neighbor gave you, which, are doing quite well now.
Yeah, they're just the brown, if you go to the co-op, you can order ready to lay birds, so they're already maybe 8 months old. So you can buy them and they're already old enough to start laying eggs.
Okay.
And
they're beautiful brown or eggs. White. You gave us 2 dozen, and they're beautiful. Why are there some that are light blue and kind of green?
Those are the special
chickens.
Yeah, about 3 years ago, got some special varieties specifically for egg color.
That's cool.
So we have Americanas that lay blue eggs, bluey green, and Welsumers that have a brown egg that's speckled.
Yeah.
And we have Wyandottes, and they just lay a light colored egg, but they're very pretty birds.
They're pretty eggs.
Yeah. So we're ordering more this year because it might be 8 months. You get these chickens as day olds, and it might be 8 months before they're ready to lay. That we'll have the next generation ready to go.
Yeah.
These ones slow down.
Yeah. That's so cool. Yeah. I think that it's nice too that the eggs and the birds are also beautiful. That adds to your interest in them. If that's allowed to say, like, your garden is beautiful, and you put effort into your property, into everything, just to like keep motivating it, right? Like when everything looks like garbage, you're not as interested in maintaining something. But if everything is beautiful and you're putting effort into it, then, you know, it's, even if it's a farm, like, farms are allowed to be beautiful.
Yeah. I had, like, ideally, I had always thought before I moved out in the country that we would have free-range chickens. But you cannot...
Which is a great idea because...
Yeah. You cannot have nice gardens if you have free-range chickens.
Oh, okay. I thought it was because
they'll go and scratch everything
kill
up.
everything.
That's on the list. I'm getting that.
Oh, okay.
Item number one,
you
you don't have nice gardens. Item number 2, you can't have a dog that's interested in chickens. That will harass the chickens.
Okay, maybe that's what was happening at your neighbor's house, right there.
That's and then the third thing is because we're in the trees, we have a lot of predators, and I would say most frequently we have foxes. And there's lots of, like, the dogs are really good at keeping the foxes away, and they could be out all day. And this happened once. We came inside, and it was in less than a minute after we had been outside all day and the chickens were out and whatever. It was less than a minute that we were inside before I heard the chickens squawking that the fox had come back.
It had been just waiting the whole day.
Waiting for the dogs to go inside so it could snag a chicken.
Little punk.
Yeah. So now our chickens are no longer free range.
So they're just in a fenced-in area back there, or what's?
So in the winter we have 2 coops. We have a winter coop and a summer coop.
Okay.
The winter coop is larger, so they have much more indoor space. And then there's a smaller, very secure run that is wrapped in plastic, so it's like a greenhouse. So we don't have to run electricity to the coop. That's enough to keep them warm. And then also, because it's warm in there, they'll actually go outside.
Right, instead of just
because we've tried that
all winter.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We've tried without, and they would just not go out.
Yeah.
Especially if the snow's deep.
Yeah. That's fair. Tiny little chicken legs.
Yeah, and then this year, you can see out the back window, we have a smaller coop over there.
Yeah.
And so we're going to fence in this little area of bush behind our house. So we have our backyard fenced in.
Yeah.
And then along the back fence, there's a little section, like a strip of bush. So we're going to run a fence that just encompasses that and comes to the back of our backyard fence.
Yeah.
And so they'll have the run of that in the summer.
That's great.
And then also be near the dogs, hopefully. It'll be enough of a deterrent to...
Yeah, to keep predators back, dogs out of the way, but also still protecting. It's a lot to think about.
We've had raccoons, foxes. We saw a weasel, but it didn't get into the coop. Hawk.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Everybody loves chicken.
Yeah. What about your pigs? Where do they wander?
Look way in the back field, we have a section of forest.
Yeah.
That we fenced in.
Yeah.
And that's where the pigs are.
So they're in the woods. Are there oak trees there, or do you toss
They're adjacent.
Yeah. Okay.
So some fall in, but we mostly have to walk around and collect them.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That's kind of a fun activity.
We thought about switching to electric fence, so we debated.
Yeah.
Electric fence or regular fence. And lots of people say with pigs you have to do electric fence. We have not had any problems with the pigs escaping with a regular fence.
Yeah.
The advantage of an electric fence would be we could move them around. So when the apples are in season, we could just move them under the apple trees or move them under the oaks. Or if I want to clear a garden, right? Make their pen in an area, they can dig it up and then move them to the next section.
Oh, I didn't think of that. So are you going to let them have the run of your fenced-in garden area just to churn that up in the springtime?
Well, we were debating this year we want to clear a couple extra plots. Unfortunately, in my fenced-in garden, I planted perennials in one part.
Oh, okay. So you can't just churn it all up?
No.
Darn.
We have strawberries and rhubarb and mint and thyme. Yeah.
What a magical place this is. How long have you been at this farm or property? Estate?
5 years?
5?
No, 4. 4 years? 4.5 maybe.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. Every year we've built a fence. And the fences have gotten better in quality.
Nice.
As we've got along.
That's good.
Yeah, we've also gotten more tools. So.
I feel like you're probably just learning as you go, right?
The first year we didn't have a chainsaw, so the fence we put around the garden were just dead cedars that we could like push over and drag out of the bush.
They still look like little trees. They don't. I can see them from here. It's actually very nice and tidy for not having your own chainsaw.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I think by the end we got a saw, like to clean up the top and the bottom and whatever, but really we just walk through the bush and, you know, like in every clump there's maybe some that are dead and that's what we took.
That's fun.
Yeah.
What's it like having kids grow up with pigs and chickens and gardens and the task of gathering acorns? And
so I also homeschool. So there are so many things that they can just do that they don't have to learn about.
Yeah.
Like they have each for a couple years now had a section of the garden that is their garden.
Yeah.
And they're now 5 and 7, so they don't reliably weed or water, and
No.
I do those things. But they plant it, and then they harvest it.
Yeah.
So, like, my son used to hate potatoes, and then I had him grow potatoes, and then he loved them.
Yeah.
Because they were his, and he dug them out of the soil.
Yeah.
And I think that's worked for so many things. Like, they just eat kale.
Because
Isn't that nuts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is weird. Kale
They'll
is
just
weird.
like walk out to the garden and
Oh my gosh.
like say, I'm gonna go get a snack and have kale of all things. Like I understand when we grow peas, like if you were to go have fresh peas, absolutely.
Yeah.
Or carrots.
Like my parents had cucumbers, so I'd go out to the the salt shaker and the cucumber garden and just chomp away. Yeah. Oh my gosh, but kale.
I know. So I think they eat more vegetables and they appreciate the food because they've had the experience of growing it. And they know they know what it takes. They don't need to learn that in science class, how to grow something. They know, all those steps and what's required.
I love that.
And then we have lots of flexibility too that we can, in those warmer months, spend lots of time outside.
Yes. Oh my gosh,
beautiful.
The best classroom ever. Yeah.
But I do sometimes worry that I wonder if they know, because it's still magical for me to be able to like go outside and just be in the forest.
Yeah.
I hope they'll appreciate it. But if they don't know
what the difference
is.
difference.
Yeah, if that's all they've ever known.
I grew up in the country and had only ever lived in the country and then went to school in Montreal, and that was my first really big city living experience. And yeah, I think that I longed for the country again as soon as I was there. And so I think that there's a lot of value to this kind of lifestyle, sometimes being the only thing that you know for a long time, because eventually they will probably
experience something
live
else.
somewhere else, even if it's in a small town. Like it doesn't have to be Toronto or whatever big city. They will probably experience something else someday, and then they're going to remember the good old days of I used to live. Yeah, because both Will and I grew up in the country, have lived in big cities, lived in Brampton, may I just say that with as much disgust as possible. Sorry. And have wanted to be in the country ever since. Yeah. Yeah. So I think that, it's just such a beautiful thing.
They'll appreciate it.
Yeah.
I hope so.
And I love that they're appreciating food in a different way too, because I think that when getting food is just a monetary transaction and you didn't have to try, and in some cases you don't even have to cook it or put effort into cooking it. If you just have to pop it in the microwave and peel off the top, then is it are you going to value it? Are you going to finish that meal and not throw half of it away because you didn't grow that potato, you didn't dig that out of the ground? So
it's true. I think since we've moved out here, live very seasonally. Like we no longer eat based on, when I'm thinking of a menu, what do I want to eat? I think about what do I have available.
Okay. So how much of your food do you preserve? Any of it?
Yeah, some. Really, in the summer, we eat out of the garden. And there are some meals, like when tomatoes are first ripe, and it's been a year since you've had a garden tomato, because they do not taste like the same thing as a grocery store tomato.
No, because when anything's grown out of season, it can be done, but it's not as good.
Yeah, and there's a difference too between, I think taste is tied to nutrition. When it tastes better, it's more nutritious. Yeah. And that's when you wait until
that's
it's
with
ripe
vegetables. I mean,
pick.
like if it's dessert and it tastes better.
Yeah, I'm talking about plants.
Talking about plants, yeah. And possibly meat, yeah.
Right, yeah.
Go on.
But they're, like, I would not buy tomatoes at the grocery store because they taste awful when you buy winter tomatoes.
Yeah, they're just plain. They're kind of
like once in a while you'll be surprised. I don't know if there's somewhere maybe
it's
where it's
hit
in
or
season
miss.
or
yeah.
But when tomatoes are first ripe in the garden, we often will just have like sliced tomatoes for lunch. Sliced tomatoes and maybe like mozzarella and like some salt and pepper.
That's delightful.
And then that's like, it's in season and you're excited about it and it's so good. So we eat a lot from the garden in summer, and we save mostly root vegetables. Like we'll have carrots, beets, potatoes, onions and garlic as well.
Yeah.
But not enough to last through the winter.
No.
So maybe we made it to November.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask, like, what quantity of food do you have to actually grow to last for a family of 4 all year round? Like, what were pioneers doing? Oh my gosh.
I know. I feel like it's a lot.
Like a full farm to feed one family.
I've tried to start looking into easy ways to preserve food because we don't have good cold storage in this house.
I was going to ask if you had some sort of cold cellar. Yeah.
So our house was built in like 1973.
Okay.
It's a split level, and there isn't just a cold room.
Yeah.
So we have a storage room off our mudroom that's okay. Yeah. So it will last some of the time. The garage is pretty cold, but it's possible to be below 0 in the garage.
Right. So a cold cellar is something that you want to be
like a
2
fridge.
to 5 degrees or something like that, or how cold?
I don't know by temperature, but cold, but not
below freezing.
Not below freezing.
Okay.
Yeah. So garlic's good and onions are good. So I harvested them and braid them and hang them up.
And did you teach me how to plant garlic? I know it's a fall thing, but I want to plant it now.
And carrots. So I was reading about a method. So carrots apparently are more sweet after they've been left in the ground and you've had some cold weather. Oh. So you can leave them in the ground into winter, and then if you have a way to thaw out that portion, dig them up. So I could plant like a whole bed of carrots and just pull them out as I need them. Yeah. So one of my spring projects is to build a movable mini greenhouse.
Okay.
So it could be set on top of that area, theoretically, if it's not too cold.
Yeah.
And then thaw just that section enough to dig out those carrots, and then it doesn't need storage space.
I like that.
In the house.
You'd have to like go out in the snow and dig in there. Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
That's cool. Hey kids, want to go get some carrots for supper?
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and canning and preserving and stuff, do you do anything like that?
I do.
I mean, not to like overwhelm you. You're just one person.
Yeah. But. No, I made jams and then canned like peaches and pears and done pickles.
Because while you don't necessarily grow all the things, when things are in season in the summertime, it's easy to buy them in bulk and can them and have them.
Yeah. So the downside to canning, like any fruit, it's mostly sugar.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
so you're preserving it. But it's mostly sugar.
So I guess with a pressure canner, it's you still need a lot of sugar or something acidic to
Yeah, we've done tomato sauce or salsa or something like that.
Right, so that's less sugar but more acidic. The tomatoes
Yeah.
are acidic and there's vinegar in it and stuff. Yeah, I'm trying to think. There isn't much of a way. It's like salt, vinegar, or sugar in order to preserve things and have it not spoil.
We have lots of freezer space.
Right.
So it's taking electricity, but we can just freeze stuff. And
That's true.
Vegetables too. Like there's always a time when there are so many beans.
Yeah.
You can just harvest them and blanch them and freeze them.
Yeah.
I think if you're harvesting it when they're whatever it is ripe and you're freezing it, you're preserving the nutrients.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to add anything.
This is lovely. There's just so many things that...
I'd like to try dried beans. So I've never done that before.
I was wondering, okay, so which can you buy pinto beans or kidney beans or something, grow them on the vine, and then dry them. You dry them in the husk or shell, whatever it's called, and then just break them out, and you can store dried beans and cook them whenever. Yeah. Have I just summarized how to do it? Okay.
Good job.
Can you grow kidney and pinto and like white beans in Canada? Because string beans do not taste the same when they are when the inside is dried out and you cook that.
I'm trying to think what variety I ordered. So I get seed catalogs.
Can I look at yours afterwards?
Yeah, can I go get it?
Yeah, of course, please.
And then I can tell you. So there are lots of great companies selling seeds and local places selling seeds. Like you can go to CD Sunday in Peterborough.
I'm going to that.
Okay, perfect.
When is that? March 10th.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to go together.
So I've ordered from a number of companies, but this year I ordered from William Dam Seeds, and they're Canadian, but they have so many varieties. Like the selection is incredible.
Wow.
And it's great. Like if you know you want to grow a dried bean, right, you can go to that section, look through their catalog and see what they have. And they have heritage varieties. Yeah. Or they have hybrids if you think, okay, this is a tricky thing to grow and I just want the one that's going to be the easiest. Yeah. Then you can find something that'll work for you.
Okay. So you just order them, and how soon do you have to start those in the year?
Beans, I've only ever direct seeded, like the May long weekend.
Right, it depends on the vegetable.
Yeah.
Okay.
So beans are not a problem. And actually, like I've never grown beans specifically for dried beans, but I've saved beans for seed, and it's pretty much
the same
thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just not in as large quantity.
Right. Yeah. I guess I could have done that. Last year I tried saving beans, and then after I had dried them out, had some of them had gone moldy, and then also I realized that the kind that I had was not what I would make chili with. And so then I was like, well, this hasn't worked out for me. I'll just throw it in the compost after all this time drying them. But, yeah. Yeah, beans are always, because they're so prolific, like a good one to save. Yeah.
Peas, we always eat. Every year I grow more peas, and every year we just eat them all. And I never have any even frozen. Like I always think I'd like to grow enough that we can shell them and freeze them, and it's never. Everybody just loves them, and we eat them.
That's nice.
So
yeah, okay.
I will never be able to save peas.
That's fun. Someone that I talked to, again on the podcast, Tony DeRosier from the Abigo beeswax wrap company. So she talked about how every year they will let one plant of every type go to seed and save those, just so that her child can see the full cycle of plants. And so I just love that. Yeah, isn't that cool? That it's just part of the garden, and it's so much forethought and thinking to the future, and making sure that, okay, I have to have seeds for next year, and a single plant will produce hundreds of seeds in most cases. We're talking about basil, and how, like, a single basil plant, if you let that go to seed, it's just insane the number of seeds that you get from that. Like, you could grow a forest.
I've saved, like, squash. I've always saved those seeds. Or pumpkin or whatever. But I remember the first time I grew dill, harvesting the seeds. Yeah. And I had, like, a mason jar of seeds. I don't know why I kept that many. Like,
Yeah.
I did not need a mason jar.
Well,
of
it's just kind of
dill seeds.
fascinating how many there are.
But it was like easy, you know?
Yeah.
And the volume.
Yeah.
And I had always, too, because I hadn't done this before we moved out here, when I first started, I had thought, I had the bias in my head that my seeds would be inferior to store-bought seeds. Like, they wouldn't germinate as well.
Interesting, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I have found the opposite.
Oh.
That when
nice.
I sow something that I saved in the fall, it's almost all the time.
That
germinates no problem, and
yeah.
And most of them germinate too, you know, compared to
sometimes you get a bunch of duds.
Yeah, maybe like 60% or something, you know?
Yeah.
So I have been pleasantly surprised by that.
That's nice. That's reassuring.
And it's been nice too. Like with the kids, it's not something I had to teach them. I was just out collecting seeds, and then they wanted to do it too. So they took some envelopes, and I have some that like they labeled, you know, snapdragons or whatever, and they filled with seed.
How good would it feel to this year or next year or something have seeds that you've saved of every kind of plant that you want to plant, and to just not have to buy seeds? Like,
yeah, so I had envisioned that, and then I saved a ton of seeds last year, and this year rolled around, and I thought, oh, I don't have to buy all those kinds. I can just get new varieties.
Yeah, okay, well, there you go. That's even more fun.
So I wonder, maybe some year I'll get to the stage where I think, yeah, I have all the things I want. But
yeah, that's awesome.
It's easy to just add to the list and say, I'm going to try other varieties.
Yeah, we were talking about chickens earlier, and we've already kind of talked about the connection with your food and how you kind of put more value on things. But something that I would like to do at some point is come and kill a chicken. Can I come and kill a chicken at your house? Not to shock people if they're like, oh my gosh, you want to kill it. But like, seriously, how much more appreciation would I have for eating chicken breast or eating any sort of chicken in a meal if I had to look that chicken in the eyes and kill it.
Yeah, and I think about...
And pigs, like, that's an even bigger animal. Like, the bigger they get, the more intimidating it feels to do that to them. But obviously I love meat, so I don't know what to do.
I don't know that it's ever easy.
No.
But I don't think it should be. It would worry me if I didn't care.
Yeah. Yeah. That's beautiful.
We normally, when we do meat birds, we take them to a butcher just because, like, the time it would take to do 80 meat birds. We don't have a plucker, so you have to do it by hand.
Right.
Is like overwhelming.
Yeah.
But we had last year a fox kill a bunch of our chickens.
And leave them there? Did you just kill them? Oh, he took them.
No, yeah.
Sure.
It was over several nights. It could have been like, is it a Roald Dahl book? The Fantastic Mr. Fox?
Oh.
It was like a battle, us against the fox. Like,
Yeah.
he would come and take a chicken one night, and then we would add some extra fortification, and then it would be a couple more nights, and then the fox would learn how to get past that. So we just had a handful left. We did them ourselves last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that my kids know where chicken comes from. They know chicken is an animal.
Yeah.
And they know how it gets to their plate.
Yeah.
It's a good thing.
I like
and that I know that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I
really, I know, like, I knew that.
I get it. I get that pork and bacon is a pig, but
No, to live that is different.
Yeah.
And because we raise them too, I think we appreciate the meat in a different way.
Yeah.
So we did not butcher them any further. We just have whole birds.
Yeah.
So I always roast a whole bird.
Yeah.
And
then
we have that meal, and then we can have sandwich meat. Like, it might be 4 nights of chicken.
Yeah.
And then we always make a broth.
Yeah.
With whatever is left over. Too, if there are little bits. Our dog is super happy to have any chicken.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we appreciate it and we know what went into it, we always make sure to get the most that we can.
Yeah.
Out of every bird.
Even when there's an abundance. Like, you save that whole mason jar full of seeds, even though just go like, oh, I don't
And
have
I just
to.
asked everyone I knew.
Yeah. See, then there's
Anybody
that
want
sharing
some dill?
culture. Yeah. Then you can just swap with somebody who has an abundance of sunflower seeds or something. And
so the problem is that I would say most of my friends have a garden now. And it always gets to like every part of the year where we all are like, hey, anybody want zucchini? I
Yeah.
have so much zucchini.
yeah.
And we all have a lot of zucchini.
Well, I'll be sure not to plant zucchini, and you be sure not to plant
Whatever.
We'll swap.
Sounds good.
Any other tips for somebody who wants to slowly enter into hobby farming? And
So this would probably be the opposite advice as some people. Maybe it has to suit your personality.
yeah.
I would say focus on one thing at a time and do it well.
Yeah. That's
But
good.
don't be a perfectionist. If you have the ground worked, just plant something. Don't say, I don't know how to do it perfectly, so I'm not going to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Would rather make sure that the ground I have worked is fertile and everything I'm growing there is growing well, and have twice as much space and not really be doing it well.
Yeah. That's a good bit of advice.
And it's less stressful too when you're
Yeah.
just trying to learn one new thing at a time.
That's a good point. I feel like each year I don't call my garden a garden. I call it an experiment because I don't know what the heck I'm doing. And each year I'm mildly disappointed by at least one thing. But other things turn out really exciting.
It's true. I have thought it would be stressful to do this for a living. But because it's just for us, I can say, if you lose that crop, but then this other thing does well,
We'll
that's
see
okay.
more of this than the other thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're okay with that. We just change what we're eating then.
Yeah.
And appreciate what's in abundance.
Mm-hmm.
This has made me excited for the spring.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Not just because
I
get
was
to be
already
outside.
like dying for the snow to be gone.
Yeah, but the fact that you have like maps of your garden drawn out in the seed catalog, oh my gosh, I need to flip through this too. Yeah.
That's what I do. So living seasonally, the winter is the season for like planning your projects.
Yes, I like that. Everything kind of sleeps and you just get to dream and plan, and then it comes springtime. I'm just looking at all these vegetables. Look, I've never been excited about cabbage, let me tell you, but this seed catalog gets me excited about cabbage.
Yeah, I know. Isn't it? Like,
it's so cool.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Thanks again for listening, everyone. It was a lot of fun to get inspiration from Valentina about the small changes we can make to become more self-sufficient and in turn more eco-friendly. Don't worry if you don't live in the country, there are ways to make a difference no matter where you live. A book I recommend is called Self-Sufficiency for the 21st Century by Dick and James Strawbridge. Don't forget to leave a rating or review for the podcast to help get our name out there. Every bit helps. And you can find all of our previous episodes on iTunes, Spotify, and more. And find me on Instagram at Elsbeth Callahan. Have a great week, everyone, and talk to you soon.